Let's have a look at some of these parameters in practice now. For this, I prepared the following prompt. So a photo of the ocean with light waves, should be a wide shot, cotton candy clouds in the background, sunrise, realistic lighting. And now, after the last keyword I add, so to say, to my prompt, I add a space, and now these double dashes, then the parameter that I want to change, AR in my case, the aspect ratio, and this should be in the format of 16:9. And if we now create these images and compare the aspect ratio or the format to the other images we created so far in this module, then you will see that we now have this 16:9 format applied to all of our images. So we created these nice ocean images now in this 16:9 aspect ratio. But we can also add multiple parameters to a prompt. If we take this once again now, and after the aspect ratio add --no, for example. This is a negative prompt, so with this --no parameter, we can exclude certain objects, humans, animals, or simply certain information from the image. Our ocean here, for example, has this blue tone in it, which is quite okay generally. But let's say that I want to exclude blue colors from this image. Then I simply add --no blue here, and therefore anything blue should be removed from the image. And this almost worked in this first one here. Yeah, we have some slight blue tone in it, but generally the overall look of the image entirely changed by adding this no parameter. As mentioned, you can also apply this to remove certain objects from an image. So if I, for example, take maybe this Kill Bill image we created, add this prompt, and now add --no cars. The initial images all contain cars, as we have the city in the background. This should change now. So we shouldn't see any cars on these images now. Yeah, and I think this also worked quite well. So this is how you can remove objects with this no parameter. Let me give you one other example how we can use such parameters. By again creating a nature image, this time of a beautiful path through a forest with huge trees, a panorama shot. Then I add some details about the way the image is shot, so with the Canon camera. We have the sun shining through the trees and golden colors in spring. And now I add again the aspect ratio as parameter in this initial prompt, which I'll copy now. And the second prompt will be exactly the same, but I'll also add --style raw now. So the first prompt will create the image with Midjourney 5.1 with the opinionated model and this more artificial model, so to say. The raw model is unopinionated and should be less artificial, less styled or not that overstyled compared to version 5.1. And by comparing the results, we indeed see that both created great looking images of this path through the forest. But if we directly compare the colors and the general style of these images created, so this here is Midjourney 5.1 and this here is the 5.1 raw version, so with the style raw parameter added, then, in my opinion, the raw version looks a bit more natural, not that oversaturated, and therefore it is the more realistic image. We learned that already at the beginning of this module. The raw version is maybe the best compromise between version 5 and version 5.1. So this is maybe an example where you might want to use this raw version temporarily to create this image without having to change the settings to 5.1 raw. So for such cases, using a parameter like this for one single image creation is definitely helpful. As mentioned, you can play around with these parameters, add multiple parameters to your prompts, and therefore gain even more control about the image creation process.